back to episode 21 of the Jungle Podcast. I'm your host, John. Jeff, how's it going today?
It's good, buddy. It's good to see you. I guess we will get right into it. Why don't you tell them where everyone can find us, and then also about our new exciting website for our store.
Love it. So yeah, if you're a first-time listener, you can find us on all listening platforms as the Jungle Podcast. You can find us on YouTube as the Jungle Podcast, and you can go and vote on all of our lists that we do during our episodes on Twitter at the Jungle Pod.
Yep.
Kind of beat me to the punch, Jeff. We've rolled out the Jungle Podcast store.
I was excited. I'm excited.
I'm live on Teespring. So if you need something to keep your drink a little warm or a little cold, we have the Jungle Podcast mugs. If your phone keeps breaking, we have the Jungle Podcast phone covers. We have fanny packs. We have T-shirts. We have some pretty nice sweatshirts. All of this I created with a few clicks of the button just by putting our logo up on Teespring. Shout out to them. One of our previous guests and loyal listener, Zach, had expressed some interest in T-shirts, and I know it's been a question that's come up a few times. So if anyone wants one, go to the Jungle Podcast store on Teespring.
That's right. That's right. Well, I appreciate you making it. If we had, I know we're doing sexy, not sexy this week, but if it was a kudos, well, I guess that could be a sexy, but if there was a kudos this week, you would have gotten it for me for just making that site. So I appreciate it. That's awesome.
Literally, this is how easy that website is. He asked me when I was driving home. I got in the garage, and I was like, I know there's a thing called Teespring. It took me a minute and a half. It says upload image, choose color. You want a T-shirt, and it's so easy. So I feel like $20. If you guys don't like the design, there's like 15 T-shirt designs. I just did the first one, classic tee.
That's what we want. But I mean, I love the other stuff on there. The hat, the face mask.
I mean, wear your mask.
That's right.
Your social distancing on with the Jungle Podcast in mind.
That's right. Well, cool, man. That's a pretty cool site. Hopefully, we see some people get on there and get some stuff, and then we'll probably have to run another competition or two again to get some people some free T-shirts. I know some people asked about that, but no, that's exciting, man.
And you know what? Because I think Graham asked, do we actually make money off it? We get paid it depends on the item. They set the price, and then for the T-shirt, I think we make $6 or $7. So I'll come out and say it. This is not business savvy at all, but just to promote you guys buying stuff. If you get 3 items, I'll buy one for you free because that'll be a break even. I think that's pretty.
And I'll match or whatever. We'll do something. We'll do something together. Yeah, obviously.
Buy 3, get 1 free from us. We're desperate.
Buy 3, get 1 free from the store. That's right. That's right. And that's a good point. We didn't set the price. The website sets the price.
I mean, this is how the website works. Go create your own. It takes 2 seconds. You don't trust us. But
well, cool, man. Well, you want to give me some news and notes? Yeah.
So that was the big news that I had this week.
Okay.
How about yourself? I know the Fight Island is officially live. Looks great. I think the first fight was with Usman and Masvidal.
Yeah, the main event. It's that's huge this weekend. Fight Island.
And that's the UAE or somewhere in the Middle East.
Yeah, United Arab Emirates or Abu Dhabi, but I guess out there, and it's the first. I mean, it's the first card on Fight Island. There's 3 title fights: Kamaru Usman versus George Masvidal, Petr Yan versus Jose Aldo, and then actually in between those, God, what do you have? It's another great title fight. Volkanovski versus Max Holloway, the rematch for that. So super excited about that. And I'm going to talk about that actually here in a little bit. But my news, and I'm sure everyone's already heard about it, is just the Patrick Mahomes signing the biggest contract in the history of sports.
Yeah, so they call it the biggest in the history of sports because I think the earning potential is 500 something mil.
103 million.
I believe only 120 is guaranteed.
140.
140. Okay.
But still.
Mike Trout just got 450 mil guaranteed.
Yeah, so it's a little bit different with baseball, right? So you're right. You're right. It's a little bit different.
It's a good headline,
but it was good to see a football player get a baseball contract. But what's crazy about it is, and we chatted a little bit through text talking about and we saw that debate. who are the people in any sports that you're willing to sign for 10 years?
Quarterbacks. It's it for football. We talked about. I texted
Yeah.
you, like, if
For
you're
football.
why would you sign anybody for that amount of time unless they're a quarterback?
And it's funny. I know it's kind of an outlier, but look at John Gruden as a coach. 10 years. He got 10 years, $100 million.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a coach, because he's not getting
paid
by guys we're going to name on our list today.
Well, yeah, that's true. But it was, hey, look, good for Patrick Mahomes. I think he's worth every penny. I hope he gets every cent of that $503 million guaranteed. I hope he wins a bunch of rings. I guess rumor has it that he was working out at 7 a.m. already the next morning after the contract, and he said, "Look, there's rings to be collected." So, Orlovsky said it really well this morning on First Take and on I think on Get Up, saying this is them saying, "Let's go chase Tom Brady and the Patriots. Let's go get more than."
Go for it. Yep. Tom's been there, done that. But
exactly.
Get after it, Andy. Good luck.
Yep. Yeah, man. But look, so yeah, that's my big news and notes. I just want to touch on that. Obviously, big contract, good for Patrick Mahomes. Happy for him.
Sure thing.
Yeah.
So moving over to sexy, not sexy. My sexy of the week. MLB schedules were officially rolled out yesterday. Opening day is on the 24th for the Reds. Reds always open at home, and this year's no different. But the Reds schedule is my sexy of the week. We have the easiest schedule in Major League Baseball, I think, for the first month.
Really?
We play the Tigers 6 out of the first 10 games. They suck. They're like the Reds 5 years ago. They have no one. They're completely depleted. They're in complete rebuild mode, playing in a 60-game season.
Get off to a hard start. You have to get off to a hot start with 60 games.
You have to. The deck is stacked in our favor. Like the Central, so the NL Central is playing the AL Central, the NL East is playing the AL East, and so on. And the AL Central is by far the easiest of the two options. So it's, I don't know, I'm excited for baseball, man. Like a couple weeks out, it's like you can almost taste it. They're back in training together. I'm super excited for that.
Look, I'm super excited for baseball, and that's something that, I mean, you know me, I don't normally say, so we talked about it a little bit on our, I don't remember what episode it was, but I'm excited for the 60-game season because every game is going to really mean something. It's going to be exciting. The new overtime or the new extra innings rules are pretty cool. So look, I'm excited. That's a good sexy. Hopefully they can come out and have a really good start for these 60 games.
I put a bet on them today. They're plus 1,800. They were plus 2,500. I bet $50 to win the World Series. I get $900.
Hey, there you go.
They're made for it.
Why not?
This is our year. Yeah.
Why not?
I got to pay for the Zoom account somehow. God knows we're not getting it off Teespring.
Hey, maybe that was what we needed.
Yeah, not when I'm offering buy 3 get 1 free.
Well, good. That's a good sexy. And so mine was actually, it's going back to Fight Island. Not only is that sexy that they're fighting on Fight Island, it's the UFC's keeping it alive. They're throwing events, but I thought this was pretty cool. So John Oliver made fun of UFC and Dana White for going to Fight Island and having fights and all this. And he made the analogy. He said it should be called the UFC, like SEAC, kind of stupid, whatever. Yeah, stupid.
That's a good one.
But no, not Dana. John Oliver.
Oh, okay.
So then Dana went and trademarked that saying and made shirts with it on. And this is the sexy part of it. It's cool. Dana White gets a lot of crap. He's not very well liked by a lot of people. But he's going to donate all proceeds to anyone who buys the shirts to one of John Oliver's favorite charities, the Bob Woodruff Foundation, which ensures injured post 9/11 service members, veterans, and their families are thriving after they return home. So that's
I'm glad that was the caveat, because it sounded for a second like he stole the guy he already owns his idea, trademarked his idea, and was going to cut him out. So
and then was going to make money off of it.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's Dana. That's Dana White.
I know that's why I thought it was. It's like I thought that's a good sexy, because you don't see Dana White. I'm not saying he's not. I'm sure he's probably given money to charities in the past and all this, but he's not a very well liked person. that by even most fight fans and even his own fighters in the UFC talk about him, talk shit about him all the time. So look, he's doing something good. I thought that was cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
For my not sexy, so I don't know if you guys have been following the very scandalous Johnny Depp and Amber Heard divorce trial.
I have not.
Trials going over in London. So basically, long story short, they're divorced. They're suing each other, and today it came out in court that Johnny Depp, the last straw for him is apparently Amber Heard defecated in their bed as a prank. Incredibly not sexy, and can't blame the guy if he wanted to get out of a relationship at that point.
That right there would go ahead and be the least sexiest. That right there.
Hooping in bed.
Hooping in
not
bed.
Sexy.
Hooping in bed. Okay. Well, look, I heard one time that Johnny Depp spends like $40,000 a month on wine, so he's probably drunk all the time anyway.
He's probably hooping in the bed every other night.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, but all right. Well, hey, okay, that's definitely a good not sexy. My not sexy, I think it's going to piss you off a little bit because I'm coming at you with Joey Chestnut. Now he won. He won again.
I didn't even bring it up.
He won again. He dominated. I think he was like up by like 30 something hot dogs. I mean, he absolutely dominated. But this is my not sexy. I have no problem with it being on ESPN or being highlights or whatever. But it's not sexy for people to call it a sport. It's a competition. So I'm coming back on you saying that he's not one of the most dominant athletes of whatever the last 20 years. So
Ever.
that's my not sexy.
13 straight titles. Thank you for reminding me.
It's just it's not a sport.
Very contentious episode, the most dominant athletes list of all time. I had Joey Chestnut at number 2.
Two.
And
Come on.
He just won his 13th straight. Here's how dominant of an eater he is.
It's not a sport.
He's at 75, and no one's even watching him, man.
That's he's a competitive eater. He's not an athlete. I'm not bashing Joey Chestnut. I think it's an incredible feat. Good for Joey Chestnut. I think, you know what, and I thought about this. I was thinking about this on my ride home here earlier. That should be a poll as well. Is competitive eating a sport or is it just a competition? So I'm going to put it up. Put it up.
If golf is a sport, eating is a sport.
No. Golf has at least a ball.
If UFC is a sport, eating is a sport.
Now look, and I get that. Now they debated it. Dominique Foxworth was debating on this morning, and he was saying if there's no defense, it's not a sport. Well, that's a good point. There's not really defense in golf, but so that's a good.
What's the old adage? The best defense is a good offense. All he can do is just attack. More hot dogs each year.
Look, when it comes to competitive eating, he is the best offense ever. I will definitely grant you that.
He's the GOAT.
I'll grant you that. So that's my not sexy. People who call that a sport. Let's start that debate. If it comes back that people vote that it is a sport, I will eat my words and congratulate Joey Chestnut, as I already am. It's very impressive. I just don't think it's a sport. There you go.
Fair enough.
All right.
Well, moving over to the list. So it's been a week. We've been a little shoddy with these past 2 weeks. So I think both Jeff and I would attest. Work's gotten a little heavier. We're going to keep trying to do these twice a week, but let you listeners down. And for that, we apologize. However, to make up for it, we're going to bring you a very contentious list this week. It's the best DN/Rushman. So it could be an outside linebacker. We talked about last week how a 3-4 format. Sometimes you have these outside linebackers. Like last week, the guy who we didn't mention when I was looking at the numbers, like Sean Merriman would have been in this debate, and he would have been probably like 2 or 3 on that list.
And he's not in this one because it's not his time.
He's not. But I'm saying that type of player is what we're going to include this time. So you're going to see some different names who might be kind of like an outside linebacker, but truly they're more of a rush package guy on the outside.
Yeah.
So today we're doing top 10 from 2010 to 2019.
That's right. And Sean Merriman, what a beast. That's a really good point. This was a tough list to put together.
Super tough because you really are counting 2 different positions.
Yes. And there's.
But they're not. It's a weird time. Like, it's hard to measure some of these guys against a true DN. Like, you know what a DN is when you see it, you know?
You 100% you do. And this is weird because there's going to be some contentious ones. And I told you earlier, like, I'm even looking at it like, man, why should I put him here? Should I put him there? So let's get let's get into it.
And also think about, like, when we're talking about, when I was looking at the sack numbers, like, everyone's got sacks, and it's because people are passing the ball more. Like, there's a lot of things that feed into this. But yeah, I'll kick it off.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Number 10, Justin Houston from the Kansas City Chiefs. Unfortunate for him, he left this year and went to Indianapolis. He'd been there 10 years. He had a 22 sack season, I think, in like 2011.
Yep.
I had him at 10.
I think 2014.
If you look at sack totals, he's, I think, like top 6 or 7. But he did a lot at the beginning, and he kind of fizzled. But, you know, numbers are numbers. You know, if you put him a 20 sack season, you better be on the list. I got him at 10.
Look, he's up. He's my number 9.
Okay.
So yeah. So I think that's fair. I think it might have been 2014. What do you have? 22 sacks, something 22. Like that.
Yeah.
Something like that. I mean, so yeah, you're right. And he's still been very dominant. He's in the top 10 in sacks. He's number 8 if you go of active sack leaders. I mean, he's had some really, really good seasons. You know, 4 Pro Bowls. He definitely's trailed off, though, like you said. So I think 9 is very fair there. I mean, 10's very, very fair for him to be right there. Very fair. So
I think you reward consistency, but you can't ignore what he had going for like a span of a couple of years. Like, no one was better.
You're right. So my number 10, and I think this is probably going to piss you off, and I don't care, but it's I know it's going to. Carlos Dunlap's my number 10.
I didn't even think of him, but –
oh, okay. So I thought that maybe he'd be up higher because I know you're a big Carlos Dunlap fan.
I am, just because but if I wasn't a Bengals fan, I don't think I'd be really aware of him. Like, I don't think a lot of people are.
Yeah, but I also think there's another guy who I'm going to mention at number 8, who I think if you're not a certain fan, not a lot of people don't know. A lot of people don't know about him either. So Carlos Dunlap, one of the main that I kept thinking about this is his batted down passes. That's unbelievable, and that's seriously. I mean, that can completely deflate a drive. Not to mention, I think he's number 11 on the sacks of active leaders. So that's plus the batted down pats. Plus, he's been in the league since 2010. So he's been very, very consistent. I mean, he's had some pretty good sack years. Nothing that's going to blow you out of the water. But He's also got a lot of quarterback hits. He also has a decent amount of like tackles and good amount of tackles for loss. He came in at number 10 for me.
I like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so Dunlap. I didn't even think about him. He's not even on my honorable mention. I think that's more of a knock against me than anything else. But
Thanks.
I can't. I don't hate that pick. I think that's actually, you know, you can put up an argument for it.
Yep. Yeah. All right. Cool.
My number 9 guy from last week, DeMarcus Ware.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about DeMarcus Ware.
That's the thing though, because like him and another guy that was on my list last week. They kind of just got split between these 2 time periods. If you're doing a 20-year sample size, like, he'd be higher. But
if his was like 05 to 15.
13, 14, 15, those years in Denver, just get out of this way. Like,
yeah.
And the numbers back it up, the Pro Bowls back it up. Everything was there that you look for. That's why I put him at 9. You know, he kind of got screwed on the time frame that we're doing this on. And
He did.
Other guys.
If this would have been like 05 to 15, he'd probably be number 1.
I was thinking 1 or 2 behind.
Yeah, you know what I mean. So you're right. He kind of gets screwed on the time frame there. He absolutely should have been on my list. That's a misstep on me. I think I looked at too many active players. But that's what's also crazy about this list is there's a lot of active players on this list that came in 2011. You know what I mean? Or even a couple of them 2009, and they've played and they've dominated for 10 years. So that's why they kind of got a nudge on him for me where I didn't really think about him. So my number 9 was Justin Houston. I went ahead and told you that. My number 8 is Ryan Kerrigan.
I've got him higher.
Do you? Okay, so that's fair.
The pride of Muncie, Indiana. I went to school. So when he's our age, he's our same class. You know, graduated high school in 2027.
Yep.
Played 4 years at Purdue. when some guys I knew from Muncie, their thing was Muncie, what? There's a bunch of just like Hoosier Hicks, kind of what you expect from Muncie, Indiana. But they would say Kerrigan just roid head, meathead, and he was good at Purdue. And I think he was a first-round pick, like in the 20s, like 22nd or 26th overall. I don't know if you can look that up. But I've got him higher, dude. Like his sack totals, he has elite production.
First-round pick, 16th overall. Oh, I know he does. He's seventh. I mean, he's seventh and out of top 10 active.
Yeah.
I was surprised that. I mean, a lot of people don't know. You don't hear about Ryan Kerrigan.
He plays in D.C.
He plays in D.C.
But here's the thing: we don't know what their mascot is.
We don't. Hear me? He's the anchor of that defense. He's had a very, very, like you said, a very, very good career. He has awesome sack numbers. I love Ryan Kerrigan.
He'll stand up and play like the outside linebacker role, but he's truly a rush like DN.
Yes. Yeah. But he can go out and cover. He can play out straight.
He's been doing it for 10 years.
Super athletic. So yeah, he was my number 8.
I like it. At my number 8, I have T. Sizzle, Terrell Suggs, Arizona State, the Sun Devil. Yep. He's another one that's kind of gotten screwed because when he came in the league, he came in like I think 04, and all he's done is been productive. We didn't have the last list, and I was looking at it like, dang, did I kind of like in my head associate him more so with this time period? So I had to throw him on there. He's in the top 10 sacks. I had to give him some respect.
He's number 1.
In the past 10 years?
Yes.
Oh, is he?
He's number 1 from active players by far.
Active.
By far.
Okay.
I know, but that's pretty much the last 10 years. And he's number 1 by far. He's not my number 1 on my list. He is higher, and we'll talk about him more. But I think that's fair that you put him there. I mean, but his best season, he was first team All-Pro, I think, in 2011. But he's had 4 Pro Bowls, I think, since 2010, maybe even 5. I love Terrell Suggs. He's one of the most fun players to watch.
I'm kind of putting you on the spot here. I know he says something stupid when they ask where he went to school. It's like he's one of the guys that's like school hard knocks or something like that.
Yeah, he says something different. You're right. We'll have to look that up. But yeah, all right. So Terrell Suggs, he's your number 8. I think that's 55. Fair. I have him higher, but yep.
Great number 55 right there.
Oh yeah. Who's your 7?
Another one from last week, Julius Peppers. I can't remember what I had him at, like 3 or 4. But dude, I was looking. So he's 38. The only reason that he just retired, the only reason that you're saying T. Sizzle has like the most active is because Julius Peppers just retired. He had 11.5 2 years ago, 2018, at age 37.
Oh yeah.
At age 37, he's putting up better numbers than Nick Bosa just put up as the defensive rookie of the year and first team All-Pro.
Hey, I have him higher. I have him higher.
Yeah.
I have him higher. I mean, he's another guy. When I was looking at it, I looked at like all decades teams and all this, and he was up there for all defensive linemen. I think one of the reasons why I have him so high is because honestly, I felt like I disrespected him last week by putting him at. I think I put him at 4. You know what I mean?
He's played for 2 decades.
He's played for, and he's dominated. And about half the sacks have come in this decade. And he's traveled with it. He's done with different teams. He's gone to different schemes, different areas. And he's just continued to dominate. I love Julius Peppers. I have him higher, so we'll talk about him more.
We're making a list of the best in the past 20. He's probably my number 1.
Yeah, I think he probably has to be.
That's why he kind of gets screwed there.
The last 20 is a really tough list also, but that's good. So look, he's number 7. I respect that. My number 7 was Cameron Wake.
Okay, I've got him higher.
Yeah. So and I think that's fair. I think that he's also another one of these guys. He got talked about a lot when he came in.
For Miami, he played for the Dolphins.
I think a lot of people. You're right. He played for the Dolphins. I think a lot of people don't realize that he's been in the league since 2009. I mean, he's been really, really good since 2009. All-Pro 2012.
Pretty good school.
Cameron Wake went to Penn State.
Penn State. Okay, look at
him. And he's also another one of those guys that all your schemes, he can stand up and play outside linebacker. He can put his hand in the dirt and play true defensive end.
And he wasn't a high draft pick, if I'm not mistaken. He was kind of like underappreciated and then just burst on the scene. And he wears that like crazy face mask too. That's like a cheese grater. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. You know what? Like I mean, on here right here, it doesn't even look like I don't even know if he was. He might have been
undrafted. I didn't want to say that.
He might have been undrafted. I mean, but his numbers are awesome. Led the league in tackles for losses in 2010. He's in Tennessee now. I think it'll be interesting to see how well he does. He's getting older. He's been in the league since 2009, but that's one of the reasons why he made this list is that consistency. I mean, look, I think 7 is still awful high considering all the names on this list.
I think he was undrafted because I'm not pretty sure. I'm positive he went to the CFL first.
Yeah,
he went to Canadian Football League route.
And look at that, and he's dominated.
Yep, just like another guy. Kurt Warner didn't start in the league.
Yep.
So.
Yep. So yeah, all right. So he's my 7. Who's your 7?
I gave you my 7 was Julius Peppers. My 6 is Chandler Jones, the brother of Bones Jones, regarded by both of us as the greatest UFC fighter ever.
Yep.
His brother Chandler Jones, who's had his own interesting career path. Not like he was a first-round pick. I think he went to Syracuse, if I'm not mistaken.
He did. He's bounced around. His brother also was in the NFL. Arthur Jones,
right?
For the Colts.
Right.
Yeah.
Linebacker.
Defensive lineman.
Okay.
Yeah, but Chandler Jones has one less season than J.J. Watt. Now J.J. Watt has had a lot of the injuries, but he has the same amount of sacks in one less season.
Yeah, one less season, but JJ was literally hurt like for the entire 2 years.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
There was a 2-year span where JJ really didn't play.
But that's how good
JJ.
Look, that's how good JJ Watt is.
Right.
You know what I mean? But that's also how good Chandler Jones is. Yeah, he went to Syracuse. He got drafted by the Patriots in the first round. He's had some really, really good years. 28 tackles for loss in 2017. 2-time first-team All-Pro in the last 3 years. Look, he's my number 6 also. I think I kind of fought with it. I almost put him higher.
I did too, but the 2 names we'll talk about it. I mean, the top 3 for me in this argument were head and shoulders above the rest. Not that.
So clearly not for me because we have some differences, but that'll be interesting.
Okay.
Yeah. And one of them who I got a feeling you're going to say who I left off, but I'll explain why if you do say him. So my number 6 is Chandler Jones also.
So my number 5, Ryan Kerrigan, we already talked about him.
Okay. My number 5 was Clay Matthews.
I've got him.
You have him higher. Okay. So I think that's fair to put him higher. The only reason why he isn't higher above the next 2 is just longevity of what they've done over a greater span. But Clay Matthews is one of the guys who literally he changed the game. 6th in sacks of active players. He's still doing it. Where's he at? He's out in the Rams right now. But, I mean, he had the couple of those seasons, like in 2010 through really 2015, where he was so dominant on the outside. And he's one of those guys where he's so high. And you know how high I am on sacks when it comes to this list. His sacks numbers aren't going to jump off the charts. But what he could do in space was unbelievable. It is unbelievable.
I mean, he was the most dominant at what he was doing for a span of about 5 years.
Yeah.
I've got him higher than that.
I think it's fair. He's
at 5. 4, I had Cameron Wake, who we've already talked about too.
Yep.
Production speaks, man. And he was doing it in Miami. They weren't in the playoff hunt. He was the only guy really on that D-line. He did it year in, year out. Numbers don't lie. Cameron Wake's still doing it. What if he had gotten, maybe he wouldn't have been the player if he had come right into the league that, he became to be or turned out to be.
Right.
I had him at 4, man. I had 4, Wake, 5, Kerrigan.
Well, look, so my 4 was Terrell Suggs. And here's why. He has 140-something sacks. The second place is 106 in active leaders, and I know that goes way back. But 5 seasons out of the past 10, and out of the past 10, 2 of them he's been hurt a bunch, didn't even play the whole season.
Yep.
Over double-digit in sacks. One thing that I also love about Terrell Suggs is he had Ray Lewis on his team, who is arguably the best linebacker ever. When Ray Lewis left, they needed someone to really, really take it over. Terrell Suggs took it over like it was nobody's business, it just right away. Terrell Suggs, we already talked about him. former first rounder. I mean, his numbers do speak for himself. I think will be a Hall of Famer. So
no question, he's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He's the only one on that defense that because you had the Ed Reed, Ray Lewis persona. He's the only one that carried that persona, and it was not too big for him.
Yeah.
He's ready for it.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're right. I love Terrell Suggs, so he's my number 4.
3, I had Clay Matthews.
Okay.
Dude, if we're just talking about just straight like I say, I take your numbers into it, but I also take in just how dominant you were at that time period.
Yeah, I think it's fair.
When I'm looking at names okay, I've named Justin Houston, DeMarcus Ware, T. Sizzle, Julius Peppers, Chandler Jones, Kerrigan, Wake. When I look at all those names and I look at the numbers and I look at how dominant they were in their time period, Clay Matthews, to me, is head and shoulders above the rest of them. Not there's names like Peppers and Terrell Suggs that you could, if we're looking at a larger sample size, yes, I would put them ahead of him. If I'm talking just 2010 to 2019, Clay Matthews for me is the 3rd on the list.
Look, I think that's fair. He's my number 5, and if I look at it, my 5 through 3, really through 2, are very, very close. Right. And I think you probably could have switched him. And like I said, he's one of the guys where you can't look at the numbers because he dominated on defense so well. I mean, he can go play in space better than anybody.
Yeah, and there's something to be said for sure. Just the persona, the hair, the
long hair,
the 90s WWF suck it moves. Entertainment value was there.
Played up in the cold in Green Bay. Never wore sleeves. No, he's just an absolute savage. Yeah.
His family, the Matthews family, they all went to USC. His brother or cousin, I think, was the first-round pick tackle, plays for the Falcons. Yep. I don't know if he's still there or not.
I don't know.
His grandfather's a Hall of Famer. Their dad played in the NFL. His blood. The guy did steroids about as good as you could do for an NFL player. But man, he made it. I'm also. We've talked about this before. I'm pro steroids. Just let them all.
Hey, you know what? If they're let's.
Just look at Clay Matthews. The guy gained 50 pounds of muscle.
I'm pretty sure he was a walk-on safety at USC.
Yeah, he walked on.
So
get an offer.
Yeah. So and then he came in. He's just one of the beasts. So look, I have no problem with him at 3. He was my 5. My number 3, and where I talked about him, we talked about him last week. We could talk about him even more with everything he's done. But my number 3 was Julius Peppers, and I almost put him at 2. I just love Julius Peppers so much. His numbers are still dominant, and look, he's my number 3.
You're feeling guilty about yourself last week. You should have. At number 2, I have Von Miller.
Me too. I'm guessing 2. I'm sure 2 and 1 are the same for us.
I hope. What do you have to say about Von Miller? I mean,
look. Von Miller in the Super Bowl to win Super Bowl MVP as an outside linebacker defensive end is unbelievable. And I remember that Super Bowl when they won. They made Peyton Manning one of the worst quarterbacks to ever win a Super Bowl.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
100%, man.
He's a three-time first team All-Pro since 2011. He's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8-time Pro Bowler. That's unreal.
He's the best of his generation at his position.
Yes.
Something just kind of struck me. You know why that defense was so good? They had 2 of the top 10 on my list. They had DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller.
Oh, yeah, dude, they were unbelievable.
It's not even fair how good they were.
They were unbelievable.
Yeah, that defense was unreal. Those Broncos teams were fun. You forget about it because once Peyton left, they started drafting the QB out of Memphis and they brought in Brock Osweiler and it just became ugly real fast.
Yeah, it really, really did, and it still seems ugly. A lot of people have them really high going into this season.
Well, so Locke, not to get off on a tangent, but Locke had some pretty impressive wins as a rookie starter.
I know, and they took a good wide receiver in the first round too, didn't they? We're going off on a tangent, but I'm pretty sure they did. But yeah, look, Von Miller, he's my number 2. You can talk about him all day. I mean, he's changed the game at that position, and it's really hard to change it still at that position, and he continues to do it. He's just absolutely elite. There's not really – you can say go on and on about him.
Who's number one, Jeff? Just let the people know.
J.J. Watt.
J.J. Watt is
not even close.
Doubt number one of the past 10 years.
Yes.
I don't have the numbers in front of me. I'm guessing at least two. I think maybe 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. Is he
I'm pretty sure he's 3-time Defensive Player of the Year.
3 times. He's led the league in sacks, I think, twice. He's missed. So you were saying like sack numbers. He's basically missed 2 full seasons, and he's tied with who? Like just
Cameron Wake.
Cameron Wake, like one of the most efficient pass rushers in the league. J.J. Watt is paid.
Look, he just, despite missing 33 games of the last 4 seasons, in 10 years, he has 96 sacks. I'm pretty sure also it's either him or Luke Kuechly. I mean, I know it's Luke Kuechly, who was only him and Lawrence Sarah are the only guys that win Defensive Rookie and then Defensive Player the next year. But JJ, 3 Defensive Player of the Year honors, 11th overall draft pick. He's also 5 times All-Pro, which we've talked about it. There's a difference between All-Pro and Pro Bowl. All-Pro is what really, really, when it comes down to it, when they look in the Hall of Fame, you're first team All-Pro. Now we're talking about first, second ballot all Hall of Famers. 5 times.
Yeah, J.J. Watt's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's going to go down as the greatest pass rusher of this entire decade, if not longer. Who knows how long he's going to play.
And you know what, dude?
He's not done. Like, he's going to hang around as long as his body will let.
Oh, yeah. He could, and you could probably line him up at tight end. He'd probably be as good as any tight end in the NFL.
He is Houston's, like, football team. He's taken Houston from the Carr years, which was kind of like the end of this, like, 2010s, and he's transformed that club into just a respected, sometimes dominant franchise.
I mean, think about this.
And he has not disappointed.
Houston got Jadeveon Clowney, who everyone thought was going to be the next biggest thing, and we still got to see, oh, no, wait a minute. He's still not J.J. Watt. He's not even close.
So, you know what? Some names, like, unless you have anything else to say about J.J., some names I was looking at, like, what came to mind? I was like, Mario Williams came to mind. Jadeveon Clowney came to mind. But, like, especially Jadeveon, I didn't realize how disappointing his career's really been if you look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Then I was looking at, like, Joey Bosa, for instance. I considered putting him on because his sack numbers have been incredible. He missed a bunch of games last year, or not last year, the year before. But every year he's only like 12 sacks, 11 sacks, 15 sacks.
Right.
Both I considered, but I didn't want to go down the Ohio State homer route again.
So for me, the one guy who after I got done with this, who I think should probably be on this list, and it's absurd that he's not, honestly, and he probably should be pretty high on it, would be Khalil Mack.
Ooh, how did we not name him?
I was seriously going through it, and I don't know why. The reason why
is like 2016, 2015.
2014 is when he came in, and he had 4 sacks as a rookie. 4 sacks. Yeah. So you don't even think about it. But then he went on a tear. 15, first team All-Pro. 16, first team All-Pro. 18, first team All-Pro. So, I mean, he's a guy. But now last year, only 8.5 sacks. You know what I mean? Like, his first year in Chicago was unbelievable. But so him, and then the one other one who I thought could possibly number 10 is.
I love how 8.5 is like, you suck.
Right.
Like,
well, compared to the other names on this list, and also compared to his other seasons, those aren't good numbers. That's how good he is. How good he is. And then the one other name I thought that probably deserves it would be Cameron Jordan. But when you look at his numbers, when he first started, they were pretty low. But he's been on a tear the last 3-4 years.
Calais Campbell, numbers-wise, should be on there too. He's another one.
For him, it's like it's his position. He goes inside too much. So we're talking.
That's why I left him off too.
Yeah.
That's why I left him off too.
Yeah. But look, hey, that was a fun list. That's a good one.
Yeah, man. So, what's it? Today, Tuesday. We'll try and get another one out this week. I don't know if we will or not. We'll talk offline and figure it out. But that was fun, man. Let's get back to it. Again, just a reminder, the Jungle Podcast store is open. All those people looking for shirts, go ahead and get one. That's all I got, Jeff.
All right, buddy. Me too, man. Have a good rest of your night.
All right. See you guys.
Hey, man.